2020 has been an astonishingly volatile year for the United States, and there are a lot of uncertainties around what the future may hold. Should another financial crisis befall us, rendering a number of too big to fail banks insolvent, things will work differently now than they have in the past. The good news is that taxpayers will no longer be forced to bail out these large banks. The bad news is that these large Wall Street banks can now legally bail themselves out internally, in what's referred to as a bail-in, which uses depositor funds. This is because of the Dodd-Frank Act. Thanks to the Dodd-Frank Act, if you so happen to hold your money in a savings or checking account at a bank, and that bank then collapses, it can now legally freeze and confiscate your funds in order to stay afloat. This works well for the bank. It no longer needs to rely on the federal government to save it from bankruptcy, it can simply dip into your deposit accounts to stabilize itself. What do you get in return? In exchange for the money it took without your permission, the bank will give you its equivalent value in company shares. In other words, if a bank fails, it can legally take your money without asking, and give you shares in its failing operation in return. Is this legal? Yes. Is it ethical? No. If you're lucky enough to hold your money in a bank that doesn't collapse in the event of a major financial crisis, then your banking institution will likely have to pay fees to help recoup the money spent in stabilizing the other banks that had failed. And if you are keeping your money locked away in a safety deposit box in a bank, the banking institutions also have the right to confiscate and use those funds. This means that if you're retired, living off a pension, and holding most of your money in a checking or savings account, then you may find yourself in a truly desperate position should your bank find itself in financial dire straits. But aside from real estate, equities, and debt securities, there is another asset class that banks simply can't touch: privately stored physical gold and silver. Shield your assets from being converted into IOUs from the bank, and invest in precious metals. Call Oakhurst Metals or visit our website to speak with a specialist today.